What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great hump day, that you're getting over the hump, you're doing the Humpty dance, or whatever you do on hump day. I like numbers. I like math. And sometimes when you go through numbers, you'll find out things that'll blow your mind away. Statistics. And, if I want to put my wife to sleep, just start doing some math and talking about numbers, because she's like, nah. Be that as it may, yesterday, Jerry was asked about D-Law being in the Ring of Honor for the Cowboys. And I got to say, immediately my thought was Harvey Martin isn't in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. And I did a video that's playing right now about if you're going to even consider him, you can't consider him. Oh, Big Lots is higher. Look at that. I'll be damned. Big Lots closed, and now they're reopening.
The comeback starts.
The comeback. Don't call it a comeback. They were here for years. But I said, you can't even think about putting in DeMarcus Lawrence without putting in a Harvey Martin. We're talking about a guy who was Defensive Player of the Year. We're talking about a guy that was 4-time All-Pro. Now, here's the problem is, and this is insane when I started doing the numbers here, is sacks didn't start counting, or they didn't start using them as a statistic until 1982. Okay, 1982 is when they started counting them. Deacon Jones allegedly had 28 sacks. He went in there. He was like, the film's there. The film's there. They coined the term after him because he said it's like you sack a city, kind of like medieval times. You destroy it, and that's where he came up with the term sack. But there are game films, so you could go through and get these numbers, because allegedly he had 28 in one season, and that was it was 17 games, 14 game season. They said Gino Marchetti had 9 sacks in one game. See, all you young people, y'all looking at these numbers and you see DeMarcus Ware with 117 sacks and say, oh my God, that's incredible. Or we look at, like Micah Parsons is doing. But here's the thing that blew my mind away as I was sitting in the car and I started going through the numbers. Because see, now, an NFL game, here we have an NFL game, there's averages about 35 passes a game, unless you're Jalen Hurts, and you only average 21 passes a game. Okay? 21 times. They literally only pass the ball 21 times a game this year. It's like a throwback. Well, it's really a throwback. But right now, you average 35 passes a game. On average. Sometimes, they're throwing 40 times. We've seen Dak have to throw over 40 times, more times than you want to shake a stick at. But here's the thing. You multiply 35 times 17 games. That means the quarterback is going 595 times back for a pass. That's 595 times a season that you have to get a sack. So let's say we take the 23 sacks that they said that Harvey Martin had in a 14-game season. So we'll equate that to today. If you go ahead and take 23 and then divide it by 595, you come up with 3%. So in order to get 23 sacks today in a 17-game season, 3% of the time, you have to get a sack. Okay? You follow me on that, baby?
Yep.
Okay. That's your sack percentage. So, of the times you line up, I think that's right. Maybe that's not the right, but yeah. That might be wrong. Because that's a sack a game. So that's 1 every 33. Okay, I'll rework it. But here's the thing. Here's where will blow your mind. So we average 35 pass plays a game now. In the 70s, they averaged 19 and a half. 19 and a half. So, and you had 14 game seasons. So that means you had 295 opportunities to sack the quarterback. That's it. 200, literally half the opportunities to get a sack. So if Harvey Martin ended up with 23 sacks in a 14-game season, I think I worked it out at every 8% of the time he got a sack. I may be wrong in the percentages, but you can see the difference. If you have more opportunities, you should be able to, if it's the same, get more. And that is literally mind-blowing when you think about it today. And so when you look at some of the players back in the day that had a lot of interceptions, you can't look and compare those numbers to today's players, because today's players, when Diggs got all of his interceptions, he had a lot more opportunities than you would have back in the 70s. And it is a travesty that most people have no clue as the greatness of a guy like Harvey Martin or Ed Too Tall Jones and the things that they did back in the day. And they're just kind of stuck in the window of time that's right now. And believe me, I'm not saying this to say that DeMarcus Lawrence wasn't a really good player. I'm not at all, because he was. I'm just trying to remind you guys that your window of what you're looking at is kind of small. And you need to go back and learn some of the roots of things. And so as we go through and we say that the Cowboys, it's the quarterback sucks and he can't win it all. Well, when you think about having a guy like Harvey Martin and Ed Too Tall Jones and Randy White and Hollywood Henderson and, Charlie Waters, okay? When you have all those kind of guys on the defense, that are literally having the mentality of, if we hold them to 17 points or less, we win the game. You can't kind of compare that to what we have right now. If D-Law is one of the best ones we've had on our team in recent history, D-Law wouldn't be a starter back on those 70s teams, nor the 90s. Let's be clear. That's how good those teams were. Anyway, hope I blew you guys' mind away with the numbers. I got to check the percentages, because the percentages might not be right on that. But you understand, Micah Parsons gets about 595 opportunities. Harvey Martin had about 295. Half. Half, Eddie. Half. Peace out.